Welcome back to AI War Fleet Command. Almost 8 minutes have passed, 7 or 8. What we've done in that time period, we hit a distribution node in Mercury and hit the Mark II ion cannon in Procne, both of those using raid starships. We've also got defenses built up in Anti-Cheese. So next up, I want to actually build the beachhead, the long-awaited beachhead in Procne. And in order to do this, I can't just send the stuff in there because it'll get shot up. I've got my fleet of ships such as it is right now. I haven't built that many. And I'm just going to send them in here. And their goal is just to distract. And then all that stuff coming in right afterwards. Now get out of here. And the idea is I want the combat ships to just distract everything and move the rest over here to the side of the system, which it looks like it's working. So, pause this up a bit. And now I want to have a force field over here on top of everything. And then once that's built, I'll start throwing up some turrets. Sooner I get this done, of course, the better. Well, actually, let's go ahead and do something else here. Let's throw up a couple remains rebuilders also. There we go. Alright. Now that that's in place, let's go ahead and get our turrets going. And I just want to do like a half set first. Then I'll put a couple of the grav turrets in here too. About here. I think 3 is what I want to do. And I just want to make sure I have enough here that they can't rush us with the ships that they have. And I want to wait just a minute for some of this to start going. Yep, now they're coming after us. Come on. Come on, get this stuff up. Oh, we lost a bunch of... But the remains rebuilders will reactivate it if we can get some of these other turrets up to knock them out. There we go. We lost the mobile builder. But I can bring in a new one if we can take these out. Come on. Die. The lightning guardians are killing me. There's one. Okay, that was a lot more tense than I wanted it to be. These can maintain this. But all it have to escape now is the wormhole guard post. So I want to send all of my ships now, the ones that are left, which is not most of them. We lost most of them in the process. Send them back. Still, overall a success. We do have more threat now, and it's collecting in Aspasia, which is just fine because that's where I want to head next. Given the fact there are some Mark IV threat ships awaiting us here in Aspasia, and yeah, some of them have left, but some of them are still there. And you see there's a big one in Deimos. Super, but we don't have to worry about that. Probably a guardian of some kind. That's a long ways away. I did take some time and build some more stuff. I built half of my starting Mark I fleet ship cap. I added a flagship. I added a couple of the same first level riot control ship that I made in the last game with shields and the machine guns. So I did all that, and I did a little bit more scouting, and we found a couple more of the broken golems. One is here in Malcav 11, and this is the regenerator golem. Any allied mobile ships that die on the planet can be resurrected and they use the health of the golem to do that, and then once it drops to 10% or lower, it'll stop. This one requires 25,000 energy, But that would be a very, very nice one for, say, defending a planet or attacking a particularly difficult target. If we could keep it out of range, we could just put that in whatever staging area we wanted. Anything that we lose will simply reappear there as long as it has health. So that's a nice little find. And then up here in Geonosis, recently discovered system, we have another one, the Hive Golem. Large slow transport automatically fills with up to 500 small wasp ships. When they're unloaded, they'll automatically spread out and attack enemy ships on the current planet. We can't directly control them, then they can't leave the current planet, and they'll gradually lose their health over 3 minutes. So you only want to use them when you need them. But that should be very useful as well. And overall in our scouting, we've now got everything, all possible wormholes, a couple jumps away from all of our territory in all directions explored, except for there's one more here in Viking, which I just discovered. I'm going to need to knock that out. And we haven't found a whole lot of interesting things lately. There don't seem to be as many ion cannons or advanced defenses in most of the systems that I've found. So I think I'm ready to hit Aspasia next. I also think I'm done with the distribution nodes, because we don't have that much metal, but we're producing 1,500, and that's going to be up a little bit after we take Aspasia. The distribution nodes are going to be of marginal more metal than we're currently producing, so I think I'm done with those, and I want to grow out of this metal situation per usual. The energy is down pretty low, which is why I didn't build even more ships before doing this, but Aspasia is just got an MLRS, so this should be very, very quick in theory. Now, naturally, the small little remaining threat ball reacts to us right away, and I want to just go ahead and take these out as quickly as I can. Do this first. They got a Mark IV Plasma C, so with Mark I ships, this will be no picnic. There's a bomber starship in there. Of course, there's a couple of them from this planet coming over here. Down to the 2 starships, I think. So let's just take out the bomber first. And then Mr. Plasma. There is a bomber over here, but I'm not too worried about that comparatively. And yeah, these are taking a while for us to knock out with our low tech. And now they're going to come after us, which is just fine. Should be able to mop this up fairly quickly, I think. Then I'll do the usual, send my bombers and frigates. I don't have that many. Add the flagship after the MLRS post. And with that done, we're getting set up here. Now, we lost probably about half of the fleet I put in here, so I definitely didn't overbuild or anything in advance of this, that's for sure. That took us over 100 AI progress, and while it was going on, the next wave hit here in Jupiter. But it looks like we're doing okay. It's a Leech starship, which is not particularly dangerous for the waves, and we've immobilized a bunch of their ships. So we're definitely going to need more turrets in the future, but for now we're holding up against their attacks. I would expect another one before too much longer from the other AI. Moving forward now to just past the 1 hour mark, I'm sort of in a situation where I don't seem to have a great option for where to go next. Like, I've got plenty of long-term stuff. We've got all the ones with the golems there. I mean, we want to continue scouting more, but we're up to about a third, and it's getting harder to get more good scouting locations. And we don't have, even with a third of the galaxy scouted, we don't have a location for any advanced factory, any homeworlds, any advanced starship constructors. So the real big ones are still eluding us. And there's some other options like, well, what about the advanced research stations? Well, we've got one out here in Thule. That's a bit of a ways away. You know, it's a Mark III planet with a barracks. So possibly not the most immediate option. We've got Bertha. That's got a backup design server that I want to hack. And we don't have any system immediately next to it. So we've got Arcturus here and Mimas in the way. And I don't feel like we have enough ships to protect a hack in that way. So I can't really get to that effectively right now. I mean, I'd love to go after Ariel. That's a Mark III with a barracks, though. I mean, I want that munitions booster. And if you look at the metal there, 8 metal spots. So, going to be a great resource place for us. We're going to want to capture that instead of hacking it. But again, I can't go there yet unless I were to commit, for example, to taking Arcturus first. And that's actually, you know, a reasonable potential idea, because Hyperion's already on alert. The only other one that this would put on alert if we took Arcturus would be Bertha, which we plan on taking anyway, and then we could get in there. So that's an option. The problem with that is I don't know for sure if I'm actually going to want to take Arcturus. Like, it might be better for me to just not do it. So, I mean, that's probably one of our stronger options, but I'm still not sold on it. In Iapetus, again, another advanced research station, but it's a Mark IV planet. We're not ready for a Mark IV planet yet. So there's different kind of things, and that's not fully explored. I thought about Dysnomia here, because that's a Mark II planet next to another one, and one over here. But once again, we don't have it explored all the way, and what are we looking at? Another backup design server, and there's no scout in here anymore. And that's because in a few locations, we've had this here, and also in Endor, we've had a scout that is in a picket position on the outside of the system, and then it has vanished with me sending no other ships in. I think they're doing some type of tachyon pulse or something that I haven't noticed, because what's happening is they're getting killed by ion cannons. And as far out as they were on the perimeter, that shouldn't have been like the ion cannons shouldn't have been able to spot them. They shouldn't be, and if the ion cannons can see them, they shouldn't be able to sit in there for a long time, you know, 10, 20 minutes, even longer, and then all of a sudden get shot. So what I did do is I took a look at the other sort of situation I have is our fleet's very limited because of energy. I actually got rid of some turrets. I knocked down to about half of a cap, which I had slightly over that in some of my systems. Not Letitia, but pretty much everywhere else. We've still got about 50,000 energy. We'd have more, but we've got this beachhead up in Procny. And the work there is not quite done. But I'm eventually going to want to take that down for energy purposes, I think. And once I decided I want to do that, I said, well, let's take advantage of it while we can. So what we've got going on here is our first knowledge hack. And it's just started a little bit ago. But we're working on that. And you can see we've gotten rid of everything except for the wormhole guard post. But that hack's going on right now. The question, what do I do at this point? And ultimately what I decided to do is to punt on that decision until I can get my stuff out of Procny or I get more information, like one of the two. So I did want to do a little bit more research at this moment to facilitate a couple things. I want to put scouts in transports and send them out that way to get them further. And so obviously I'm going to need the transports. So we're going to unlock the assault transports. We're going to need those eventually anyway, obviously. And then I'm also knew that I was going to need more engineer drones soon. So we'll go with the Mark II on those. And we still got quite a bit of knowledge to use. There's no point in researching more fleet ships, more starships, anything like that right now because we don't have the energy to support the ones that we've got at the moment. As I was sending those out, the next wave hit Aspasia. And everything was going just fine. Fighting this off. Until that happened. And right here is the why. Vampire Claws. Mark II versions. Close combat ship, they stay cloaked until they strike, and they repair themselves when they damage enemies. So they hit our energy collector in this system, and all of a sudden we've got a brownout. Pretty serious one. And we took them out, and this thing started rebuilding, but that takes some time. Meanwhile, over here in Procny, some of our turrets stop functioning because we don't have any energy for them. This is potentially a very serious situation. It did look like our spiders were going to slow down enough of them to rectify this. But, you know, that's definitely an issue. And the main problem I have here is that I did not deploy any tachyon beam emitters because I never researched them. And that was a big oversight. Let me go ahead and spend some knowledge on that. And I'm going to get some of those up in all of my systems. You see the force field here, it's totally down, and that's a problem. Now, of course, I can't deploy them yet because I've got to wait for our energy to get back up. Well, I got that done, but then a bunch of ships came in here, and there was a Spire starship with them, and we took care of that. But our reduced amount of turrets were unable to take out this Mark III Plasma Siege, and it basically took one hit, and it obliterated that command station, which puts us back in a brownout until we get it rebuilt. So we're really having a hard time keeping, or I'm having a hard time keeping a lid on everything in this game early on. And I'm going to try to clean this out and rebuild. But at a certain point, I'm going to need to be able to stop this from happening. I just pulled what I had left of the fleet in here. And I think it's going to be enough. Eventually. Yep. My force field's everywhere, including in Laetitia, right by my home command station. They're gone. So we're extremely vulnerable while this is going on. We got the command station rebuilt there, but the energy collector here did not get up in time to deal with the post-hack stuff in Procny. So here they are, basically overrunning my turrets. And they're putting up the fight that they can put up. But we need more. Oh, now we're going to get a reprisal. We need more energy, and we don't have it. Now we do. Now stuff starts to come back online. But it's a question of, you know, can we recover this in time? Now here's a closer look at the situation in Procny. Because I ended up having some problems, and this is sort of an illustrative point in the process. Now, they've destroyed my mobile builder, but I did get it in here. I rebuilt some engineers and some remaining tree builders, and I tried this a few times, and the same thing kept happening. As they go out and start working on all this, there we go. The vampire claws show up. And they just go and rip apart all that stuff. You know, and then they just sort of go away and they start and they cloak again. A large part of them do anyway. And, you know, see, now they're gone. We've still got a bunch of these ships here and they're working on our turrets, and I don't know if we've got enough to survive. Plus, I wanted to experiment with going up against his vampire claws in any case, because we're going to need to deal with them later. And the thing about it is, dealing with a cloaked ship, I don't have anything with my main fleet that can counteract that. So I wanted to experiment here with a couple things. First of all, I'm going to get a new riot control, because I've got the shield one, but I actually want to start going with a different version. And what this one does, it's still got a shield, but it also then has a tractor beam, and then the usual machine guns around it. Now, to deal with the cloaking, the only thing I found that I could use at this point in the game is the scout starship. So what I want to do here is get 3 of those up and then build my other 2 Mark 1 riot controls, build that new version, the tractor, and I don't know why I put tachyon because that's not right, but I'm just gonna leave it there. Tractor machine gun is what that should be. I had my mind on the tachyon beams. Now, meanwhile, I did also get enough scouts out here to explore this wormhole, the Fat Samurai, and that's a Mark 4 system. So eventually when we take this, probably going to want to beachhead that one as well. And again, I don't have the energy for that right now. So for the moment, I just want to deal with wrapping up things in Prockney. I mean, I'd like to expand more. You can say we're kind of behind the 8 ball on that, but I don't see where I have much of a choice. We're wrapping up a wave here in Aspasia. And I just want to grab my fleet from here. I want to bring them back, add those starships I'm making, and then the idea is I pull a mobile builder in here at the same time that my fleet comes in, distracts, and hopefully can handle the claws. But if it can't, I'll use the mobile builder and start rebuilding turrets. And this is turning up to be a very expensive operation, but I want to make sure I finish it up and clean out the remaining threat that's in there. Took a few minutes to build my ships and get back in here, and things really hadn't changed all that much. I thought we'd have lost more than this, lost some turrets. But the vampire claws are just sort of hanging out while the frigates bombard my turrets. And there aren't that many of them. So there's like 30 of them there. But if we look under the cloaked option, 103 Mark III vampire claws, and they've got 4 of the Mark II, 16 of the Mark I, and a few minefields. So they're definitely still around. I just want to send them in a group over there to attack this. And I'm going to, as soon as they start engaging, then I want to unload this mobile builder down here. Yeah, but there's some vampire claws here, but it looks like we're doing okay at like taking some of them out at least, because you see the scouts are keeping them visible, it looks like. Now they're probably sufficiently annoyed over there. Let's unload this. There's our mobile builder, and then I just want to, first of all, I just want to move it over here underneath the force field. And then also rebuild engineers and a couple of remains rebuilders and put all those on FRD. Let's see how this works. Yeah, okay, here comes a whole bunch of vampire claws, but we can see them, at least now. Oh, now they're streaming out this way. But yeah, our scouts are keeping them visible, but they're still tearing a pretty darn good hole in our ships. That's probably not going to work out too well. And why do we have an energy problem? We lose another... We're holding off the enemy fine, but okay, we lost another energy collector here. I thought I had a tachyon beam emitter, so I'm not sure why they got away with that. I'm going to need to watch that more closely. So yeah, this is all not going well at all at the moment. Yeah, and the vampire claws have come back here. They're tearing all this stuff up. What do they have left? Got one Mark IV, 58. So I took out about half of them. They are just proving to be really annoying. I think I need to build a bigger fleet because I want to clear out these claws. I think I just need to build more ships and come back in here. And these scouts don't appear to be being attacked. They don't have much other than those vampire claws in here. Let me see. What's going to be best at that, by the way? Okay, so they've got refractive hulls. And frigates are the thing I have that's best against them. They're not... I don't like the slow reload time and all that. But I think I just want to max out the frigates first. And just have a smattering of other things. Here's another wave on anti-cheese. I just want to take a look at this and see what happens. Are they bringing more vampire claws? And then if they do... Yeah, they've got 20 of them here. They're still here. We took out all the cutlass. Here comes the plasma siege. But we appear to be doing okay with that at the moment. Okay. Back to Procny, where I want... yeah, okay, you are all over here. Let's bring the scout starships here, because the vampire claws are coming at us in a right big hurry. We don't seem to be having any success tractoring them. Most of them are dead, though, so that's a thing. Make sure they stay visible. There sure seems to be more there than this is saying they have. Yeah, maybe it's only showing me the visible ones or something. That is really not working. I think I've got to retreat again. I don't know, max out my ships to increase firepower? So I tried again here, and I've discovered a couple of things about these. It doesn't look like there's very many left. We might finally have them here. But I'm going to pause here for a second. One, they have fusion cutter, but also I didn't look closely enough. They're immune to tractor beams, so that whole idea with the riot control, that doesn't work. They're immune to missile ammo, which is the best thing against their refractive hull type, so that sucks. But among other things, what I did is I brought some bomber starships in. Because I have a couple starships types, and these are immune to fusion cutters, as are a couple other my combat types. So it's looking to me like the way to fight against these is with a bunch of starships. And then let's see, what about the flagship? Yeah, that's also immune to fusion cutters. So if I have mostly starships and I've got tachyon coverage, then I should be able to knock these out. There we go. I believe that's all of them. Okay, yes, a lot more painful than it should have been. Let's go wipe everything else out, shall we? And finally get out of here. I'm going to get rid of all of our turrets in here because I don't need them anymore. I've successfully neutered this system. Could take out a few of the wormhole guard posts, but I'm not going to bother doing that. And I can finally try to move on with other things. So today's lesson learned is have tachyon coverage up and read the fine print, because I was using a very poor approach to fighting those vampire claws until I realized their immunities against tractors and against the missile ammo. I'm still a little bit concerned about fighting off their waves, and there's only so many tachyon beam emitters that you can build. That's something I'm going to need to continue to keep a close eye on as we go forward. But aside from that, the next sort of crisis is figuring out a way to expand, and I'm going to have to do that soon. I may try to get to Dysnomia, may try to do the Arcturus Ariel route. We'll have to see. That'll be up next time. Thanks for watching. I'll hopefully try to get this game back on track as AI War Fleet Command continues.